November 28th, 1962. Exactly 12:28 a.m. Emily Carter was on her knees in the middle of her Chicago living room. Before her, two candles flickered, a white one on her right, a golden one on her left. Between them, a picture of Padre Pio and a St. Andrew's medal. Her hands trembled. For 3 months, her house had become a living hell. Noises in the night, shadows in the hallways, nightmares that left marks on her skin when she woke up. Her husband Michael thought she was losing her mind. Her children were afraid to sleep in their rooms. It all started when she inherited the house of her Aunt Agnes, a strange woman who had lived alone for 40 years. A woman, the neighbors said, practiced forbidden things. A woman who died on September 1st, 1962, on her 66th birthday. Emily had sold their apartment and moved her family into this big house. A steal, she thought. 4 bedrooms. A garden, a basement. She didn't yet know what slept in that basement, but on this night, November 28th, at precisely 12:28 a.m., Emily was about to discover the secret of double protection. A secret that Padre Pio had revealed to only one person. A secret the Vatican had hidden for 50 years. A secret that would save her family, and that can save yours tonight. Because tonight is November 28th, and in a few hours, at precisely 12:28 a.m., a portal will open. A portal that opens only once a year. A portal where 2 protective forces join. Padre Pio on one side, St. Andrew on the other. Earthly protection and heavenly protection. The guardian of the living and the patron saint of impossible causes. United in perfect numerical concordance. The 28th day, at the 28th minute. 28 plus 28 equals 56. 5 plus 6 equals 11. 11, the number of the faithful apostles. 11, the number of the divine mission. It's no coincidence that this concordance falls on the eve of St. Andrew's Day. It's a preparation, a fortification, a spiritual shield that will protect you for the next 24 hours. The 24 most important hours of the year for those who seek the impossible. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you what happened to Emily Carter, and why you absolutely must do what she did that night. Chicago, September 1962. Emily was 34 years old. She had been married to Michael for 12 years. They had 3 children, Ethan, 10, Olivia, 7, and little Noah, 4. Michael worked at the Ford factory. A good salary, but their apartment had become too small. When Aunt Agnes died without children, leaving her house to Emily, her only niece, it seemed like a blessing. Aunt Agnes was the older sister of Emily's mother. She had left the family at 25 under mysterious circumstances. She had never returned to family gatherings. She had never sent Christmas cards. She had lived 40 years in that house, alone, without ever receiving anyone. Emily's mother, and before dying 5 years earlier, had said a strange thing to her daughter. If Agnes ever leaves you anything, refuse it. That woman opened doors that should never be opened. Emily hadn't understood. And when the notary called to announce that she was inheriting a 4-bedroom house with a garden, she had forgotten her mother's words. The move took place on September 15th. The first few days were normal. The house was old, but solid. Aunt Agnes's furniture had been sold at auction. Emily and Michael brought their own things. The children were excited to each have their own room. Then things started. First, the noises, creaking in the walls. Footsteps in the attic when no one went up there. Whispers in the basement that only Emily heard. Michael said it was an old house. Old houses make noise. Nothing abnormal. Then, the shadows. Ethan, The eldest son began to see black shapes in the corners of his room. He refused to sleep without a light on. Then he refused to sleep in his room at all. Then he refused to go upstairs. Olivia, the daughter, began to talk in her sleep, in English. She said normal things, but sometimes she spoke in a language that no one recognized, a guttural, ancient, terrifying language. Little Noah stopped talking completely. He, who had been a chatty child, became silent overnight. He spent hours staring at a corner of the living room. When Emily asked him what he was looking at, he always said the same thing: the dark lady. Michael began to have accidents: a fall on the stairs, a finger cut in the kitchen, a car accident that could have been fatal, and Emily herself began to have nightmares. Nightmares where she went down into the basement, where she found a door she had never seen before, where she opened that door and discovered something terrible. She always woke up screaming, and every morning she found new marks on her body, scratches, bruises, as if something had attacked her during her sleep. By the end of October, Emily was on the verge of insanity. She had gone to see the priest of her parish, Father Benedict Rossi, an old man of 70 who had seen it all. Father Rossi had listened to her without interrupting. Then he asked her only one question: did this house belong to someone who practiced forbidden things? Emily thought back to her mother's words. That woman opened doors that should never be opened. She nodded. Father Rossi sighed. Your aunt probably practiced rituals in this house. Rituals that open doors to dimensions we should not touch. These doors have remained open, and now things are passing through. What can I do? Emily asked. Should I sell the house? Father Rossi shook his head. Selling won't solve anything. You've inherited more than just walls. You've inherited your aunt's spiritual debts. These debts will follow you wherever you go. Then what should I do? Father Rossi thought for a long time. There's a man in a small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio, a Capuchin monk. They say he can do impossible things. They say he sees through the veils of time and space. They say he fights the darkness like no other. Padre Pio, Emily Carter whispered. Everyone in Italy knew that name, the friar with the stigmata, the man who bled from his hands and feet like Christ, the man who appeared in 2 places at once, the man who read souls like open books. Father Benedict Rossi had continued, I can't promise he'll see you. Thousands come to see him every week. But if anyone can help you, it's him. Emily left for a small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio, the next day. The train journey took 14 hours. She left the children with her mother-in-law. Michael didn't believe in these stories about demons, but he agreed to let her go. Anything to find peace. A small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio, was a small village perched in the Apennine Mountains. The convent of Santa Maria delle Grazie overlooked the valley. It was there that Padre Pio had lived since 1916. Emily arrived one November morning. The line to see Padre Pio stretched for hundreds of yards. The sick, the desperate, the curious. All wanted to see the holy man. She waited 3 days. 3 days sleeping in a miserable boarding house. 3 days praying in the convent church. 3 days hoping. On the 4th day, November 28th, she was finally admitted to the Mass celebrated by Padre Pio. She would never forget it. The friar was small, stooped with age. His hands were bandaged to hide the constantly bleeding stigmata. His face was marked by suffering, but illuminated by an inner light. When he raised the host during the consecration, Emily saw something. A light around his hands. A light that was not of this world. She wept throughout the entire Mass. After the Mass, she tried to approach Padre Pio, but the crowd was too dense. The Capuchin brothers formed a cordon to protect the old friar. Emily was about to give up when something strange happened. Padre Pio stopped in the middle of the crowd, surrounded by hundreds of people. He stopped and turned his head. He was looking directly at Emily. Their eyes met, and Padre Pio gestured with his hand. A gesture that meant, "Come." The crowd parted before Emily, as if an invisible force was guiding her. She found herself face to face with the holy man. Padre Pio looked at her with eyes that seemed to see beyond her body, beyond her soul, to the very roots of her being. "Your aunt's house," he said in a raspy voice. "You should not have entered it." Emily fell to her knees. "Father," she whispered, "help me. My family is in danger." Padre Pio placed his bandaged hand on her head. "Your aunt made pacts with entities that should never have been invoked. These entities have marked the house, they have marked the land, and now that new blood dwells there, they want more." "What do they want?" Emily asked. Padre Pio closed his eyes. "Your children." Emily felt her blood run cold. "Noah," Padre Pio said, "the youngest. It is he whom they want the most. His innocence attracts them like a light attracts moths." "How can I protect them?" Emily begged. "Tell me what to do. I'll do anything." Padre Pio opened his eyes. "In 3 days, it will be November 28th, the eve of St. Andrew's Day. That night, at exactly 28 minutes past midnight, you will do as I tell you." Emily listened as if her life depended on it, because it did. 28 is a number of double protection, twice 14. 14 is the number of stations of the cross. Twice 14 is twice the sacrifice of Christ. Padre Pio continued, "And the 28th minute is the minute of concordance. When the day and the minute bear the same number, a portal opens. A portal where the forces of protection can combine." Padre Pio beckoned to a young brother standing near him. "Bring me 2 candles, one white, one gold." The brother disappeared and returned a few minutes later with 2 candles. Padre Pio blessed them at length, murmuring prayers in Latin. Then he gave them to Emily. "The white one is for me," he said. "My protection, the protection of one who has fought the darkness for 40 years. When you light it, I will be with you, in spirit, in power." "And the gold one?" Emily asked. Padre Pio smiled. "The gold one is for St. Andrew, the apostle who brought his brother Peter to Christ, the patron saint of those who seek the impossible. November 29th is his feast day. But on the night of the 28th, he is already present. He waits. He listens." Padre Pio leaned closer. "At exactly 28 minutes past midnight, you will light both candles, the white one on your right, the gold one on your left. Between the two, you will place an image of me and a medal of St. Andrew." "Where can I find a medal of St. Andrew?" Emily asked. Padre Pio rummaged in his robe and pulled out a small silver medal. "This belonged to my mother. She gave it to me on the day of my ordination. I give it to you now. It already carries decades of prayers." Emily took the medal with reverence. Padre Pio continued his instructions. "At exactly 28 minutes past midnight, you will recite the prayer of double protection. You will recite it 28 times, not 27, not 29, 28. "What is that prayer?" Emily asked. Padre Pio closed his eyes and recited, "Padre Pio, guardian of souls, protect my house from all evil. St. Andrew, patron of the impossible, close the doors that I cannot close. By the blood of Christ and the mantle of Mary, I ask for double protection this night." Emily repeated the prayer to memorize it. Padre Pio opened his eyes. After the 28 repetitions, you will remain in silence for 28 minutes, not one less. During this silence, the two forces of protection will weave a shield around your house, a two-layered shield, my layer, which fights what has already entered, St. Andrew's layer, which closes the doors so that nothing else may enter. 28 minutes, Emily repeated. That's a long time. Padre Pio smiled. They will be the 28 most difficult minutes of your life. The entities that inhabit your house will sense what you are doing. They will try to interrupt you. Noises, visions, fears. You must hold on. And if I can't? Emily asked. Padre Pio placed his hand on her shoulder. You will, because you are a mother, and a mother who protects her children is stronger than any entity of the darkness. He paused. One last thing. Tonight your children must sleep together, in the same room, with you, your husband too, all of you together. These entities, they seek out isolated souls. Together, you are stronger. Emily nodded, her face pale. Padre Pio blessed her one last time. Go now, and remember, midnight 28, exactly. Not a minute before, not a minute after. Emily returned to Chicago that very day. She arrived home on November 26th. The next 2 days were the most terrifying of her life. The entities seemed to know what she was planning. The noises intensified. The shadows became more visible. Little Noah started having convulsions. Olivia spoke in that strange tongue for hours. Ethan tried to run away from the house 3 times. Michael, who had never believed in stories about demons, began to doubt. He was seeing things now too. Shapes in the mirrors, faces at the windows, hands reaching out from the walls. On the evening of November 27th, the entire family was gathered in the living room. No one wanted to go upstairs. No one wanted to be alone. Emily explained to Michael what she had to do. To her great surprise, he didn't protest. He had seen too much. He was ready to believe anything if it could save his family. At 11 o'clock that night, they set up mattresses in the living room. The 3 children fell asleep, huddled together. Michael sat in a corner, holding a crucifix that his grandmother had given him. Emily prepared her altar, the 2 candles, the image of Padre Pio, the St. Andrew's medal, and she waited. The minutes ticked by slowly. At midnight, the noises began. Knocks in the walls, scratches on the ceiling, murmurs coming from the basement. At midnight 15, the temperature dropped sharply. Emily could see her breath in the air. At midnight 20, the children began to stir in their sleep. Noah mumbled, Olivia cried, Ethan groaned. Michael gripped his crucifix so tightly that his knuckles were white. At midnight 25, Emily lit the candles. The white one on the right, the gold one on the left. The flames flickered as if an invisible wind was blowing them, but they held. At midnight 27, Emily knelt down. She closed her eyes. She felt something around her. Presences, gazes, things that were waiting. At midnight 28 exactly, she began to recite, Padre Pio, guardian of souls, protect my house from all evil. St. Andrew, patron of the impossible, close the doors that I cannot close. By the blood of Christ and the mantle of Mary. I ask for double protection this night. Once, she felt something move in the room. Twice, a violent bang in the wall. 3 times, a scream that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. But Emily continued. 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. The knocks became louder, the screams more terrifying. 7 times, 8 times, 9 times. The floor began to shake. 10 times, 11 times, 12 times. The children woke up screaming. Michael took them in his arms, holding them close, reciting Hail Marys 13 times, 14 times, 15 times. The white candle suddenly flared up, its flame almost reaching the ceiling. Emily continued, 16 times, 17 times, 18 times. A smell of sulfur filled the room. 19 times, 20 times, 21 times. The St. Andrew's medal began to glow. 22 times, 23 times, 24 times. The image of Padre Pio seemed to move. His eyes were fixed on Emily as if he was really there. 25 times, 26 times, 27 times. A terrible howl, a howl of rage and pain. 28 times. Silence. Total silence. No more knocks. No more screams, no more shaking, just silence, and the warmth returning to the room. Emily opened her eyes. The 2 candles were burning peacefully. The image of Padre Pio was back to normal. The St. Andrew's medal had stopped glowing. "Now," Emily whispered, 28 minutes of silence. This was the hardest part. For the next 28 minutes, Emily had to remain in total silence, immobile, eyes closed. Visions came to torment her. She saw her Aunt Agnes in a circle of strange symbols. She saw faceless creatures crawling towards her children. She saw doors opening onto bottomless abysses, but she held on. 28 minutes, not one less. When she opened her eyes again, something had changed. The air was different, lighter, purer. The house seemed different too, as if something that had invaded it was gone. Michael was looking at her with tears in his eyes. "It's over," he whispered. "I can feel it. It's over." The children were sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. Noah was smiling in his sleep. Emily extinguished the candles with her fingers. She put away the image of Padre Pio and the St. Andrew's medal, and she collapsed into her husband's arms. The double protection had worked. What happened next was documented in the archives of the parish in Chicago. Father Benedict Rossi, the priest who had sent Emily to a small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio, came to visit the house a week after the double protection ritual. He testified later. "When I entered that house before November, I felt a heavy, oppressive presence. The air was thick. The walls seemed to ooze something evil. After November 28th, everything had changed. The air was light. Light streamed in through the windows. It was a normal house." Father Rossi blessed the house as a precaution, but he admitted that it was almost unnecessary. The double protection had already cleansed everything. Emily Carter lived in that house until she died in 2008, 46 years. Never again did she have any problems. Michael died in 1998, peacefully, in his sleep. The 3 children grew up normally. Ethan became an architect. Olivia became a school teacher. Noah, the little one the entities wanted, became a priest. Every year, on November 28th, the Carter family gathered to redo the double protection ritual, not because they were afraid, but out of gratitude, and to renew the shield, because the double protection lasts 1 year. 1 year exactly, from November 28th to November 27th of the following year. Emily Carter testified at Padre Pio's beatification trial. Her testimony is part of the Vatican archives. She said something important. "Padre Pio saved my life, not my physical life, my spiritual life, my family, my children, everything that mattered. And he did it by teaching me something simple. That divine protection exists, that it's accessible, that you just need to know when and how to ask for it." But Emily's story is not an isolated case. The archives of a small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio, contain dozens of similar testimonies. Let me tell you 3 more. First testimony, Michael Ferraro, Chicago, 1958. Michael was a doctor, a man of science. He didn't believe in stories of demons and possession until his 8-year-old daughter, Olivia, started speaking with the voice of an adult man. Psychiatrists found nothing. Neurologists found nothing. Olivia was perfectly healthy physically, but something was speaking through her. Michael, desperate, made the trip to a small town in Italy known for Padre Pio. Padre Pio received him on November 26, 1958. "Your daughter was targeted because you have abandoned your faith," Padre Pio said. "Entities seek out weaknesses. A father's unbelief is a gaping hole." Michael wept. Padre Pio gave him the same instructions as Emily. The 2 candles, the double protection prayer, the 28 repetitions, the 28 minutes of silence. On November 28th at 12:28 a.m., Michael performed the ritual. He struggled to recite the prayer. The words wouldn't come out, as if something was blocking his throat. But he persevered. 28 repetitions, 28 minutes of silence. The next morning, Olivia woke up normal. The man's voice had disappeared. She remembered nothing. Michael Ferraro became a believer that day. He never doubted again. Olivia became a nun. She is still alive today, at 74 years old, in a convent near Rome. Second testimony, Agnes Benedetti, Naples, 1960. Agnes was a widow. Her husband had died in a construction accident 2 years earlier. Since his death, Agnes saw her husband, not in dreams, in real life. He appeared in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the hallway. At first, Agnes thought it was a blessing. Her beloved Noah was coming to visit her. Then she noticed something. The eyes. The eyes of the apparition were not Noah's eyes. They were cold, calculating, evil. It was not Noah. It was something taking Noah's appearance. Agnes took the train to a small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio. Padre Pio looked at her and said immediately, "That is not your husband. It's an entity that feeds on your grief. The more you look at it, the stronger it becomes. The more you talk to it, the deeper it takes root." Agnes understood the horror of her situation. For 2 years, she had been feeding a spiritual parasite by believing she was communicating with her dead husband. Padre Pio gave her the double protection protocol, but with an additional instruction. When you do the ritual, the entity will appear. It will take Noah's appearance. It will beg you not to continue. It will tell you that it loves you. It will tell you that you are killing it. Do not listen to it. Continue. No matter what, continue. On November 28, 1960, Agnes performed the ritual. At 12:28 a.m., she began the prayer. After the 5th repetition, Noah appeared. He was crying. "Agnes, my love, why are you doing this to me? I just want to be with you. Don't send me away." Agnes closed her eyes and continued. 6th repetition, 7th, 8th. Noah was screaming now. "You're betraying me. After everything I've done for you, you're betraying me." Agnes continued. 15th repetition, 16th, 17th. The apparition had changed. It was no longer Noah. It was a black, faceless form, writhing in pain. Agnes continued. 25th repetition, 26th, 27th. The black form screamed, "I'll be back. I'll always be back." 28th repetition. The black form exploded in a shower of ashes. Agnes spent her 28 minutes in silence. The entity never returned. Agnes Benedetti lived to be 92 years old. She never saw Noah's apparition again. She said something important before she died. "Padre Pio taught me the difference between love and attachment. True love lets go. Attachment holds on. What was holding me back was not love. It was a prison. Third testimony, Ethan Conti, Florence, 1964. Ethan was a businessman, rich, powerful, but his life was a nightmare. Every business he started failed. Every investment he made lost money. Every partner betrayed him. It wasn't bad luck. It was a curse. Ethan discovered that his grandfather, 50 years earlier, had made a pact with something. In exchange for wealth, he had promised the misfortune of his descendants. The grandfather died rich and happy, but his children and grandchildren were paying the price. Ethan made the trip to a small town in Italy, known for Padre Pio. Padre Pio confirmed it. Your grandfather signed a spiritual contract. This contract binds 3 generations. You are the second. If you don't break this contract, your children will pay 2. Ethan asked how to break the contract. Padre Pio replied, double protection can break many things, but a contract signed with blood requires more. You will have to do the ritual for 3 consecutive years, on November 28th of each year, 3 times, once for each generation bound. Ethan performed the first ritual in 1964, the second in 1965, the third in 1966. After the third ritual, everything changed. His businesses began to thrive. His partners became loyal. His fortune grew. Ethan Conti died in 2003, a multimillionaire surrounded by his children and grandchildren, all prosperous, all free. The contract had been broken, but not everyone succeeded. Let me tell you about 3 failures. It's as important as the successes. First failure, Noah Santini, Rome, 1959. Paolo had received the instructions from Padre Pio, but he hadn't taken the ritual seriously. He had started at 12:30 a.m. instead of 12:28 a.m., 2 minutes late. 2 minutes that changed everything. The portal of concordance was closed. The double protection hadn't worked. Paolo's problems continued. Worse, they intensified. He died 3 years later in mysterious circumstances. Padre Pio, when told of Paolo's death, had said, "The exact time isn't a suggestion. It's a key that opens a precise lock. If you're 2 minutes late, the lock is already closed." Second failure, Jessica Miller, Chicago, 1961. Jessica had done the ritual correctly. The exact time, the 28 repetitions, the 28 minutes of silence, but she had forgotten something. Padre Pio had said that all family members had to be together. Jessica had let her eldest son sleep over at a friend's house. That son was attacked that night, not physically, spiritually. He changed after that night, became violent, aggressive, unrecognizable. The entities, unable to reach the protected house, had targeted the vulnerable member. Jessica spent the rest of her life trying to save her son. She never succeeded. Third failure, Ethan Walker, Miami, 1963. Ethan had done everything correctly. The time, the prayer, the silence, the family reunited. But during the 28 minutes of silence, something happened, a voice in his head, a voice that said, "Open your eyes. Look, just for a second." Ethan opened his eyes, just for a second, and he saw what was happening around him. Shapes, shadows, creatures weaving a shield around his house, but also a creature that was watching him, a creature that was waiting for him to break the silence. By opening his eyes, Ethan had broken the ritual. The shield was never completed. Ethan had problems all his life, not as severe as before. The partial ritual still had an effect, but never full protection. He said one important thing before he died. Padre Pio had said to keep your eyes closed. I didn't listen. I wanted to see, and by seeing, I lost. These 3 failures teach us a crucial lesson. The double protection ritual works, but it only works if you follow it exactly, the exact time. all family members together. Eyes closed during the silence. No negotiation, no adaptation, no curiosity. Now let me give you the complete protocol. Listen carefully. This protocol was passed down by Padre Pio himself. It was documented in the archives of a small town in Italy known for Padre Pio. Padre Pio and St. Andrew Double Protection Protocol. Step 1. Prepare the items. 2 candles, 1 white for Padre Pio, 1 gold for St. Andrew. A picture of Padre Pio. Any blessed picture will do. A medal of St. Andrew. If you don't have one, a picture of St. Andrew can work. Step 2. Gather the whole family. Everyone who lives under your roof must be present. No one should sleep elsewhere that night. No one should be isolated. Step 3. Set up your altar. Choose a central location in your house. Place the white candle to your right. Place the gold candle to your left. Between the two, place the picture of Padre Pio and the medal of St. Andrew. Step 4. Await the exact time. 12:28 a.m., not 12:27 a.m., not 12:29 a.m. 12:28 a.m. exactly. Synchronize your watch with a reliable clock. Step 5. Light the candles. First the white candle, the candle of Padre Pio, then the gold candle, the candle of St. Andrew. Both must burn together. Step 6. Recite the prayer 28 times. Padre Pio, guardian of souls, protect my home from all evil. St. Andrew, patron of the impossible, close the doors I cannot close. Through the blood of Christ and the mantle of Mary, I ask for double protection this night. 28 times exactly. Count on your fingers if necessary. Step 7. The silence. After the 28th repetition, close your eyes. Remain in total silence for 28 minutes. Do not speak, do not move, do not open your eyes. Whatever you hear, whatever you feel, keep your eyes closed. Step 8. The closing. After exactly 28 minutes, open your eyes. Extinguish the candles with your fingers, not by blowing them out. Store the picture of Padre Pio and the medal of St. Andrew in a sacred place. The double protection is now active. It will last for exactly 1 year. This protocol worked for Emily Carter. This protocol worked for Anthony Peterson. This protocol worked for Mary Bennett. This protocol worked for John Coleman. This protocol can work for you, but only if you do it tonight, because tonight is November the 28th. And in a few hours, at exactly 12:28 a.m., the portal of concordance will open. This portal only opens once a year. Miss it, and you'll have to wait 365 days. 365 days without double protection. 365 days of vulnerability. Padre Pio revealed something important to Friar Pellegrino on November 29, 1962, the day after Emily Carter's ritual. The night of November 28th is the night of preparation. The night where the two protectors come together. Me, who fights what's already there. St. Andrew, who closes what might come. Padre Pio added, those who do the ritual tonight enter the day of St. Andrew already protected, already shielded, already ready to ask for the impossible. That's why tonight is so important. It prepares the day of St. Andrew. It arms you for the greatest battle. It protects you for the greatest victory. If you've made it this far in this video, it's not a coincidence. You have been guided. Something brought you here tonight, November 28th. That something knows you need protection. That something wants to show you the way. Now, it's up to you to decide. Will you do the ritual tonight, or will you close this video and forget? If you choose to do the ritual, leave a comment. Write, I'm doing it at 12:28 a.m. This is a public commitment, a first step, a declaration of faith. And if you want to support this work of revelation, if you want to help spread these protocols, hidden for 50 years by the Vatican, you can use the Super Thanks button below this video. Your contribution allows us to continue researching, documenting, and sharing these testimonies. Each super thanks is a blessing. Each share of this video is a prayer. Midnight, 28 minutes past the hour, is approaching. Emily Carter performed this ritual 62 years ago. She saved her family. You can save yours, but only if you act this night. May Padre Pio guide you, may St. Andrew protect you, and may the double protection accompany you throughout the year. Amen.